have to realise we've got no allies here. It's just us.
It turns basically open ground into parking lots, into refineries. There's nothing normal about this.
I'm frightened. I'm really frightened. I'm frightened for our grandchildren too. Not only us. You know, I have 6 grandchildren and, you know, they live all around us. They're on the farm. You know, what do we do if things are poisoned?
The initial impact would be on the groundwater, and that would completely impact on me.
Would that destroy you as a farmer, as a beef farmer? Well,
if the cows can't drink water, they're going to die. Like, there's no other way around it. You can't say it any simpler.
Unconventional gas mining is a huge risk to the local economies in rural Victoria.
Why would we put at risk industries that will continue to support us for hundreds of years to come for an industry that is purely there to export gas? It's not even for our own consumption.
There'll always be people that make money out of it, but what happens is you get a phenomenon where you get short-term gain for a few people and long-term pain, and that's paid for by the communities that are forced to operate with the industry around them.
The institutions of government that are meant to look after us have failed us. The government departments that are meant to look after us have failed us.
My name is Tracy McGuinness. I'm a beef farmer in Seaspray, and I'm concerned about the 9 gas wells that neighbour my property.
My name's Kira Bolton and I've grown up here in Seaspray. We have a gas well that is less than a kilometre away from our primary school. Would you want your kids to learn and play near a gas field?
My name's Trevor. My wife and I live at Seaspray on a mixed farm. We don't want to see unconventional gas here. It's a beautiful place and it's the way we want it to stay.
I'm Julie Bolton.
I'm David Bolton and we run a dairy farm here at Seaspray.
I've lived here all my life and I don't want to see Seaspray and the surrounding area turned into a gas field.
Any major concerns with the mining is that it would affect the water, it would affect the food, and then it'll affect everyone in Australia. That's where your food comes from, is from the farm industry, so if that's affected, what do you eat?
One of my biggest fears is we've got here in Gippsland a squeaky clean image for agriculture, and it doesn't matter what we produce. We've got vegetable farms here, we've got dairy, pigs, lamb, beef. Even if everything went along perfect, as soon as they start putting wells in, the rest of the country's going to know it. And whether there's a stuff up or not, which it's only a matter of time and there will be, that squeaky clean image is gone forever. We won't get it back.
Yeah, well, Seaspray is not only under the threat of coal seam gas. The licence actually is for tight gas and other explorations as well, and we just decided that we don't want any of it.
Unconventional gas is a bad idea anywhere, in my opinion. It has huge impacts on groundwater, on air quality, on public health. It degrades farmland. It's to a very large degree incompatible with continued agricultural use. It has climate change impacts, but it's a particularly bad idea in Victoria, and that's because we're such a densely populated state and we rely so strongly on our agricultural sector.
Evidence is mounting that all forms of unconventional gas is destructive. But whilst coal seam gas is getting a bad reputation, both tight gas and shale gas are just as damaging. Unconventional gas is even more difficult to extract than natural gas. Extraction involves highly invasive processes such as hydraulic fracturing or fracking. Fracking injects a cocktail of water, sand and chemicals at high pressure deep into the ground to fracture the earth. It lowers the water table. It has in many cases contaminated ground and surface water and produces vast amounts of wastewater with no means of safe disposal. Unconventional gas is not natural gas. It is dirty, it is destructive and cannot coexist with farming. In recent years, towns in New South Wales and Queensland have been invaded and destroyed by the gas industry. Landscapes change as they are industrialised for gas extraction. Numerous gas and water pipelines are laid through farmland, state parks and rural communities. Paddocks are taken over by large evaporation ponds containing contaminated water. Gas company trucks and machinery fill local roads 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Communities are transformed into gas fields and become unrecognisable.
Well, most of our community members know a lot about this already. We've got 98% that feel the same. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants coal seam gas.
If Lakes Oil or any other company wants to come in here, there's going to be a very big resistance movement to it.
Gippsland is renowned for its green rolling hills, its beautiful beaches, its clean air and its prosperous farmland. We are here to highlight the very serious dangers this industry poses to our community and the irreversible damage it can cause on our environment, our air and our water. Today is a chance for us to show our leaders some fair dinkum community consultation on this issue, something they seem to have a lot of trouble doing. We will not stand by and allow massive multinational mining companies to risk everything that is precious to us. The irreversible destructions this industry causes to our farmland, our waterways, our air and our health just isn't worth it for the fast short-term benefits for a few people.
Vast areas of Victoria are covered in approved exploration licences for coal seam gas, tight gas and shale gas. There's over 350,000 hectares in Gippsland that covers some of the most productive farmland in the state, a thriving tourism industry, and boasts an international image of being clean and green. Farming communities across the region have been busy carrying out door-to-door surveys in their communities asking, do you want to declare this area gas field free? The results so far have been an overwhelming majority saying yes, showing that Gippslanders are sending a clear message. Gas fields are not welcome here.
I'm Annie Keir. I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator for Lock the Gate. With others, I helped develop the mining-free community strategy, which proved to be very effective with communities in different regions throughout Australia. And when the gas field threat came to my region, I jumped in and thought we have to stop this invasive gas field from getting started. We developed the gas field free community strategy and I did a pilot of it in the village where I live and it started going viral. Now we have 124 self-declared gas field free communities in the Northern Rivers, and here in Victoria we have the most amazing fluorescence of gas field free communities.
I'm Ursula Alkia. I'm the Victorian Coordinator for Lock the Gate. Something absolutely extraordinary has been happening in rural Victoria, particularly in Gippsland. We're seeing communities conducting door-to-door surveys, asking one question, do you want to declare your town or your region gas field free? And we have been getting overwhelming responses from this. We're really seeing a movement that is empowering locals and local communities to take back the decision-making process. And we are sending a really clear message that a gas field industry is not welcome in Gippsland and communities will not stand idly by and allow everything that makes this place so amazing ruined and devastated by this invasive destructive industry.
My name's Cam Walker. I'm the Campaigns Coordinator for Friends of the Earth. Gippsland has done incredible things in terms of the community polling, the opposition and the declarations, but it's interesting to see now that we're also broadening the focus back into Western Victoria, how rapidly that campaign is growing. If you look at every week there are meetings, every week there are people outdoor knocking, every week there are stalls going on in communities and debate in the papers. So it's like the growth in Western Victoria is almost exponential, and as declarations happen, it's going to build a head of steam that will be absolutely impossible for the government to ignore.
The other main concentration of approved licences in our state lay in Western Victoria, threatening our beautiful world-renowned coastlines, food-producing industry and a crucial tourism sector that employs thousands. These licences cover an area of over 1 million hectares and stretch from the western suburbs of Geelong to the border of South Australia.
My name's Chloe Aldenhoven and I'm the Victorian Lock the Gate Coordinator. Not only have farmers in Gippsland been facing the threat of unconventional gas mining, we're also facing the threat of shale and tight gas mining in Western Victoria. Parts of Geelong, the Surf Coast, parts of the Otways and the Western Districts are all under threat from gas mining. And we've already had 3 communities declare themselves gas field free in the Otways: Deans Marsh, Boonah and Bamborough, with a percentage of 95.5%.
Gas-field-free community strategy or mining-free community strategy, it's a process of grassroots democracy. It usually starts with a seed group, a group of people get together. They initiate the process through a community meeting and put to the people who do you want to make your neighbourhood gas-field-free. They initiate a grassroots-driven survey of every household in their neighbourhood and give everybody a chance in the neighbourhood to have their say. It's really the people taking back power to determine their future.
There's a social movement that's unprecedented in Australia. It's broad-based, it's representative of everyone. It's not just one demographic, it's townies, it's rural people, it's metropolitan people, it's people on the land, and it's bringing people together. And I think the value of it is that it's not just about one issue, it's about multiple issues, and there's something for everyone in that. It's about groundwater, it's about agriculture, it's about food security, it's about air quality, it's about public health, it's about climate change, and it's about the right of communities to have self-determination and not just have rich companies come in and ride over the top of them.
Communities in Western Victoria have many of the same concerns as the communities in Gippsland. They're worried about underground water, they're worried about air pollution, they're worried about their health, they're worried about the health of their animals, and they've got huge concerns about the risks that the industry poses to their local economies.
If we want to look to see how this industry might impact on Victoria, we only have to look to the north. So Queensland is more advanced. There's more than 4,000 drill rigs in operation up there. There's a vision of between 20 and 40,000 drill rigs that's planned, and the industry is a long way advanced there. And we are witnessing documented cases of contamination. We're witnessing documented cases of public health impacts and very significant health impacts on the Darling Downs. And in New South Wales, which is a little less advanced, we're seeing problems as well.
We ran a survey and 98% of the people in the district of Seaspray declared that they wanted to be gas field free. And on the day of the beach, that's what the sign was all about. All the locals turned up. There was close to 600 people there on the day. So if the politicians can't have a look at that and just see just a handful of people from Seaspray, that's all we are, just a handful trying to fight these big companies and misinformed politicians. It's pretty well us against them.
Yeah, ordinary people need to pull together, get together. It's up to every agricultural community in Victoria to pull together, lock up their farms, and we can drive them out of our state, not let them in.
The community has a right to say we won't have it on our land, in our community, and we will blockade you if you try to come on. And we've done it time and time again.
You can lock your gate. Your community can lock their community to invasive gas fields. That's what we can do right across the state, and that's what we're already doing. And we should feel empowered by that. That lock the gate sign is a no trespass sign that is sending a very clear message that you as an individual and your community are removing the social licence for this industry to operate here.
My name is John Fenton, and I'm a farmer from Pavilion, Wyoming in the United States. We live in a very remote part of Wyoming, right against the east side of the Rocky Mountains. We have 1,000 acres, but only a little over 200 acres are farmed. And the reason that we can farm that little and make it viable is we have a good irrigation system, snow melt, and clean water to irrigate with. But they started to take locations out of the middle of it, an acre, 2 acres at a time, roads and pipeline right-of-ways. And then there were spills and pipeline ruptures that contaminated the soil. And it's kind of like a death by 1,000 cuts. We just started losing pieces and had parts where only weeds would grow now and where there was salt in the soil. And our production has dropped off, probably 20, 30%. Within 4 years, we went from 25 wells in the area to 200 wells. And it's really completely changed everything that we do on our property, the way we live, the way we think about our property. First of all, they destroyed the natural beauty of it. They come in and doze a lot of the rock formations, put big locations in our farm fields, fragmented the land. We had people all over our property 24 hours a day. Big drill rigs 350 feet from the house. So that was the first thing. That really upset us. But then our water and our air really started to be impacted. We really kind of spiraled downhill from there. They sampled the water a couple times and they came back with a recommendation. Don't drink your water, cook with your water. And if you use it for laundry or showering or doing the dishes, to ventilate your home so your home doesn't explode. So we knew right then that a lot of the fears we had were more than just suspicions, that they had been confirmed by scientific testing.
It's a farce. If these chemicals are safe, they would have no problem telling you and I and everybody else what's being injected into our ground and our water and what's being released into our air.
This really was a shock to us, and people just started to really kind of run around and lose hope. They didn't know what to do. I don't know. Nobody was listening.
There are no two ways around this. If you allow this industry to come in and divide your community, it will never be the same. Your farm ground will never be the same. Your cities will never be the same. And your water and air will never be the same.
My name's Trevor Plant, I'm from Seaspray. 10 or 11 years, or even 12 years ago now, there was one gas well built, 2 kilometres from my home. Since then, not one gas well, I'm seeing a gas field develop. It's a gas field. It's a big difference from one well. I rely totally on underground water for my stock. I've got 970 acres. I've got about 15 dams. In the last 14 years, I've had to top them up with underground water. It's only been 2 years in the last 14 or 15 years I haven't had to do it. If my water gets damaged, whether I lose volume, whether it goes salty or it gets contaminated, my farm's gone.
Yeah.
We've got a chance for everybody to get together, back each other up, because we need it. And as far as anybody doubting the evidence that is there for us all to look at, you can't pick up an agriculture paper anywhere that hasn't got, from one week to another, something on the CSG. It's up to all of us to have a good think about what's going on. Because it's not right.
Are you people in this room going to give us a hand to stop this industry from getting a hold? They are going to commence at Seaspray. If we can stop it at Seaspray, other parts of Gippsland and Victoria will have a chance. So my question is, can we get a hand? Can you help us?
When I speak to farmers, they say that they used to think that they were supported by their government and that they were respected as primary producers and as a really important part of our economy. But having these licences hang over their heads and knowing that the moratorium could be lifted without any kind of scientific inquiry into what the risks are to them, they feel really seriously let down and under siege, really.
No, we're very disappointed in our politicians. Our local representatives haven't given us any indication on where they really stand on this, and they're just holding us off until the election.
It's not just about making money and it's about putting back what you've taken out. It's looking after it for the future. It's making sure that, my grandfather started this, my dad worked here. It's making sure that it's here not just for me, but for the next generation and whoever else to come along. So that's part of what I want to do with the land that I've got. So with anything that affects that or is going to destroy that, I'm going to stand, up and stop it, because that's all we have left.
If the company comes in with their drilling rigs, they are in fact invading. These unconventional gas fields are invasive above ground, below ground, but also invasive of communities. Our problem, if we're in a community that's being invaded by a mining company, is with the government and the institutions that have failed us, and with the mining company that is trying to roll over us.
I think the main thing we need to remember is that community organising is winning. We've had 3 victories now, the moratorium, the extension and the ban on onshore drilling. The government is hoping that we will just say, oh, that's great, it's all over, and stop paying attention. And that's absolutely the furthest we could get from the truth. The truth is the government is hoping that people will stop paying attention, and we need to show them that's not the case. So what we need to do is turn out in absolute numbers at the community consultation, and we need to, in the media, keep talking about the fact that this industry has no social licence. And then when the consultation is over, we need to say, say very clearly to the government, this is an issue that matters to us in an election year.
And in Victoria, we have an extraordinary opportunity to keep working together, don't be complacent, support your neighbours, support your community, and make sure that we head towards a total ban, because this industry is just not worth risking what is so precious to all of us. We are not alone. We are growing, and we are growing because what we are fighting for is worth fighting for, and that is what we have that the mining companies do not have.
When people join together in communal action, in solidarity, that something is transmitted that is, it kind of inoculates us against anxiety and against despair. In fact, when we are connected in communities, the better our mental and physical health.
And inherently what it does is build community, which is the other side of this story. You know, even in small local communities, I live in central Victoria, and you know, you see people down the street for years without ever talking to them. But if you're forced to work with them, and it's a shame, it's a threat that's bringing people together, but it is bringing people together, it inherently builds your sense of cohesion and community. And that's a really good outcome in its own right.
We've taken a pledge to stand together against unconventional gas mining. We're standing up for common sense, for Sea Spray's future and what's right.
The government needs to listen to the community. They're a quarter of the way there. They've had the moratorium on fracking, which is great. They've got the ban on the BTEX chemicals, which is great. They're now accepted a ban on gas exploration until next year. But they have to listen very clearly to what the community is saying, and they are saying, we don't want it.
It's definitely in front of you, but the thing that has really been good, that I've been watching, is that the Australian people are taking a stand against this.
We really can win this. Now's the time to act, to mobilise, because we have this opportunity in Victoria.
If you have a concern about this, there are community organizers and there are politicians. You have to seek them out that are willing to work for everyone in this room on this. And you will find that if you're willing to stand up with your fellow man and speak out on something you find as an injustice, there is more power in each one of us than anybody can possibly imagine.
Communities need to stand up because this is our best chance to knock this industry off. If you go to Queensland, the industry is entrenched and it's very hard to dislodge it. The time we're going to stop this industry is before it gets a toehold. So at this point, we've had some fantastic victories, and we know that gas drilling has been halted into next year. That's only because the community got organised. The government gave us that through gritted teeth. They didn't want to do it. On the one hand, they say we're open for business to the mining industry. On the other hand, they've had to listen to the community. So the time to knock this off is before we have gas drill rigs in operation. Once the money has been invested, once the pipelines are there, once the drill rigs are in place, once all the infrastructure is there, the industry will fight tooth and nail to stay there. So we have a window of opportunity. We need to use it. We need to stop this industry from getting a toehold.
I strongly encourage everybody who wants to take action to join the Lock the Gate Alliance. Find our website, contact your local Lock the Gate coordinator in your region, contact your local groups, and really get involved at the local level and keep trying until you find the thing that you can do, because everyone has something that they can contribute. If we persist, if we keep inviting people to come into the movement, it will become irresistible.
We have to get together. We have to work together, because this is going to be the biggest challenge we'll ever see in our lifetimes.
The Lock the Gate network allows people to collaborate across communities and across regions, and it's something that you don't need to wait permission to do. Anyone with a bit of land, even if you're renting a block, you can lock the gate. You can signpost your property and you can tell the mining companies that they're not welcome. And you should never underestimate the incredible power of that. The power is moral, but it's also incredibly powerful because the companies know they will have to fight you tooth and nail if they want to come onto your land. And the more properties that are signposted, the message becomes unavoidable. You can't pick off individual landowners here because the community is going to oppose you. So please don't underestimate the power of signposting your property. If you do it and if your neighbours do it, then basically you're going to be able to defeat these companies.
If you find that your community is under an approved licence, there is a lot that you can do. Be vocal, talk to your friends and neighbours, and know that you are not alone. There are thousands of people across the state fighting this invasive industry, and we are banding together we are supporting one another, and together we are unbeatable. We can stop this industry.
I actually see Victoria's future as one with incredibly connected rural communities who come together to solve problems and to fight for what they know is precious.
My future of the farm without coal seam gas mining, it would stay as it is. There'd be something there for future generations. The environment would be looked after. Just the whole well-being of working from the land as giving to it what it gives to us. Not just for me and my family, but for anyone else that lives in the area. It's here.
My hopes for the future is that the family farm will always remain gas field free and we won't have to continue this fight for the next 50 years.
When I'm an old man, my grandkids are sitting right here. I want to be able to tell them how we defeated these bastards. And if I can't, I'm going to tell them I'll give it my best shot.
I bet you will. I know you will.
If protecting Victoria from a gas field invasion is important to you, there are simple things you can do. Talk to your family and friends. Write a letter to your local MP. Organise a community meeting. Make a donation. Join us. Go to www.lockthegate.org.au/Victoria. Or to make a donation to the Victorian campaign, go to www.coalandgasfreevic.org.